It's Friday. Got that Friday feeling. How are we doing, everyone? Sam here. I'm live. This is United People's TV. Hopefully everything's working. I've got a bit of a new setup this morning. Ooh, taking it to new levels. Not really new levels. I've just got a mouse and a keyboard. But hopefully it's working. How are you all doing? It's Friday morning. Smash that like button. Get the sweet vibes in. Because it's Friday. The weekend's coming. It's even a little bit sunny outside if you're in the UK. How are you all doing, everybody? There's lots to run through today. I'm going to be speaking about Marcus Rashford's imminent return to Manchester United. What does that mean for the shape of our team? Rashford, one of the most important players for Manchester United last season. How will he fit in now that we've got Ronaldo, Sancho, Greenwood banging form? Let's have that discussion. We'll speak about Jesse Lingard in a bit more detail. We'll speak about injury news ahead of our game against West Ham on Sunday. We'll also speak a little bit about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's philosophy. Really interesting questions posed to him by Carl Anker from The Athletic at his pre-match press conference, and gave some interesting insights into it. But you know what happens on a Friday. It's mega interactive. So there's a few of you that are going to get onto the map today. So make sure throughout the entire stream, you let me know where you're watching from and what town in that country you are watching from. And I might add you onto the map if I'm feeling very nice. But how are you all doing? Where are you watching from? Kieran, I can see you there asking for a shout out. Good morning to you. Sean watching, how you doing? Good morning to you. David watching from Nigeria. Good morning to you as well. And Robbie Williams and Madala. There's plenty of you watching already. But let's get straight into the positive news. Look at that. Marcus Rashford. Kieran McKenna just chilling out in the background there. Marcus Rashford is back in training. He's not in full training yet. Look at the thighs on that, man. Jeez, he's had like a few months out and he's still looking ridiculous. But Marcus Rashford is massively stepping up his return to Manchester United. And as reported by Henry Winter from, is it the Times? Henry Winter writes for these days? Yeah, chief football writer at the Times. Marcus Rashford's shoulder recovery is ahead of schedule. He is putting in 3 sessions a day of rehabilitation and is likely to step up to training imminently. That's great news. What's your reaction on the concept of Marcus Rashford coming back into this team? Because this team's already stacked at the moment. Where, as Ian was saying in the comments before we went live, this team's got a ridiculous amount of talent in attack. We've got Marcus Rashford, we've got Cristiano Ronaldo, we've got Jadon Sancho, we've got Mason Greenwood, you've got Anthony Martial you can throw in there, you've got Edinson Cavani. We have a seriously stacked attack. So how does Marcus Rashford fit into it? The fact of the matter is this: Marcus Rashford will fit into it. Marcus Rashford was one of the most important players for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer last year, a player who, let's be honest, was overused. And given the injuries that he had, he struggled to make as much of an impact as Rashford would have wanted to. But bear in mind that last year, at various points in the season, Rashford was absolutely in fantastic form. And that was when he wasn't 100% fit. So what could Rashford come back like from this surgery, fully fit, fully rested? It's been a while since Rashford's been allowed to rest and recuperate. He's always been working, in my opinion, he's always been working on like 80%. There's always been a little bit that Rashford hasn't been able to achieve because simply he's been overplayed and he's not 100% fit. But it's going to be exciting to see. Let me see what you're thinking in the comments here. Push. Them thighs are like the man dies. Well, he does not miss leg day, as Ian says. Beast mode. Finally, people should know how important Rashford is for United. Rashford is a very, very important player for Manchester United. Chris, what are you saying down here in the comments? Stupid mouse. I need to get a mouse mat. That's the problem. I think Marcus being back is fantastic, but do drop Pogba back into the mid to put Marcus back out wide and maybe sacrifice Paul Pogba. Well, seeing as you mentioned that, sir, I suppose we should skip on to have a look at this, because this is something that we all have to discuss, really. How does Manchester United work with Paul Pogba back in the team? Not Paul Pogba, sorry, Marcus Rashford. Is it this? Is this the formation we're going to be seeing? We're going to see McTominay maybe sitting in midfield. Let me go full screen on that so you can see it maybe a little bit better. Is this what we're going to see? McTominay alongside Paul Pogba in the midfield pivot, with Marcus Rashford playing up there on the left, Bruno through the middle, Sancho on the right, and Ronaldo up front. Is that what we're going to see? You let me know what you think in the comments below. But there has to be a way, really. And I'm going to do a more detailed video on this. I'm going to do a sort of Man United's best 11 with Marcus Rashford in. I'm going to look at the options. I'm going to run through the pros and cons of each option. And I'm going to give you my opinion on exactly what I think is the best, but I'll do that a little bit later. Sumia saying Marcus McTominay returning is also a big positive. It's a huge positive. It really is. Tony, watching from Sarawak in Malaysia. Well, Tony, you will go onto the map, my friend. Remind me a little bit later on after we've spoken about Rashford. But I personally think, I mean, I can see how down here in the comments saying Rashford left, Greenwood on the right. I think on form right now, and I've told you this before, all I want Solskjaer to do this season is pick players on form. And if we're picking players on form, Mason Greenwood is a player that you cannot leave out. So thank you for that in the comments. I completely agree with you there. Oh, look at that. We've got a new member joining in. Where's his name? We've got Let me try and pronounce this. Kayun Arthur. I think so. I'm going to call you Arthur anyway. Good morning, Arthur. Thank you very much for joining in. Let me know where you're watching from. I'll give you a shout out. That's what you're saying, Ayuka. You're saying the return of Rashford. There's too many comments coming in. This always happens to me. I go to click on a comment and more comments fly in and I click on the bloody wrong one. But Ayuka, what you're saying, the return of Rashford is not a problem. Ole don't know how to use those boys. I don't know what you mean with that comment, my friend. I'll be completely honest. Robin, run the risk with McSauce as the lone DM with Bruno. Look, this is something I think we'd all like to see. I think the reality is probably going to be a lot different, Robin. I don't think we'll ever actually see it, if I'm being completely honest. But we've always said that 4-3, my God, this mouse is getting on my nerves. I need a mouse mat, ladies and gents. It's like being back in 1995. You know, when the mouse just, you go in here and it goes, woo, just disappears somewhere else. This is what we'd like to see. This is an ideal situation. The 4-3-3 is how you get the most out of Manchester United. We all know that. We've all known that for a while. My God, this mouse really is annoying me. This mouse mat better come ASAP Rocky. That is the best formation we've got at Manchester United. But we don't have that midfielder that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is that he trusts enough, if you know what I mean. McTominay, could he play that role? I mean, he could play. Of course he could. But I don't think that Solskjaer is going to do it. Otherwise, we would have seen it already. That's why he always plays McTominay alongside Fred. That's why I don't think you're ever going to likely to see that. I think you're more likely to see that from Manchester United this season with Rashford there. I think probably that's the most likely 11 that we'll see. What are alternatives? If that's not going to be the 11 with Rashford in, you let me know what it should be. If Rashford, I mean, Rashford's playing on the left. That's one guarantee. One thing I absolutely want to say in the comments here, nice and full screen, don't play Marcus Rashford on the right at any point. Marcus Rashford on the right is not a good player by comparison of how good he is on the left. He's Ronaldo on the right wing is Ronaldo. Jeez, it's Friday. My brain is not working. Rashford on the right wing, he's so ineffective by comparison. So ineffective by comparison. Kayun, you're watching from Edmonton in Canada. Well, that's wicked. Good morning to you, my friend. Thank you for joining and being part of the family. If you'd like to join Kayun, hit that join button down below. It's less than the price of a pint. Your way of supporting the channel, and you get involved. You can join the United Legacy Arms. And trust me, the United Legacy Arms is going to be expanded to be even bigger and better. It won't just be pre-match at some point in the season. But I need to work on that. Tim, you're saying we have so much talent in attack. We don't really need to rush Marcus back. I'm pretty sure we can find someone to play in the middle to make us tick. Not that difficult. I mean, I would agree with the first bit in not rushing Marcus back. I'll disagree with the second bit. If it was that simple, my friend, we would have already done it. We would already have this balanced midfield. It is difficult with this Manchester United team. It is difficult with the squad that we have. And that's why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has struggled to find that balance in midfield, whether it's McTominay and Pogba, whether it's Matic and Pogba, whether it's Matic and Fred, whether it's McTominay and Fred, whether it's Pogba and Donny. That hasn't happened yet, but you know what I mean? We've had such a huge variety of personnel in different positions, in one holding midfielder, in two holding midfielders, and we've chopped and changed so often in that midfield. And that is... that goes to show, in my opinion, that it is very difficult, actually, for Man United to figure something out. Here comes another headache, says Jack. Rashford, Sancho, and Greenwood. And for me, that's not a headache, Jack. That is what you want in a Manchester United team. You want to have, in any title-winning team, you have two good players in every position. So on the right-hand side, given that Amad Diallo is out injured, you've probably got Sancho... and Greenwood, right? They're your two options over on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, I'll be honest, I think our two options should probably be Rashford and Martial, which leaves up front two options, Ronaldo and Cavani. For me, that's an excellent position for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to be in as manager. He has two players in each position there. Fantastic. He's got players that he can rotate in and out and not lose a massive amount of quality in attack. Fantastic. I think United's attack is where we're spoiled. We're absolutely spoiled in attack for options from the bench and the starting 11. So there will be rotation. There has to be rotation. To keep all six of those players happy, you're going to have to rotate them. That's down to Solskjaer. That's down to his man management. In midfield, we've got less options. You've got Donny, who can play down there with where Pogba's is on that starting 11. Although Van de Beek could play there too. Fred, Matic, he comes in. Less options. But United are spoiled for options in attack. And as Henry Winter says here, Rashford is ahead of his schedule. And Rashford, look, yeah, okay, I'll ask you now, right? You let me know in the comments. What Marcus Rashford? You let me know. Fire in your super chats as well, and I'll definitely answer your questions because sometimes there are too many comments. I can't keep on top of it. But what's your genuine opinion on Marcus Rashford as a player for Manchester United? Is he someone who frustrates you with his end product? Who's sometimes being off, or is somebody that, you know, even when he's playing poorly, he still turns in with goals and assists? How can you discount him? And he's been responsible for some of our biggest moments actually in the last couple of years. John, what are you saying here? All centre mids want to attack. Poor balance in signings. I mean, yeah, there's no balance in that midfield. We know there's no balance in midfield. That's always been an issue for Manchester United. That will always be an issue until we sign that central midfielder who's more interested, who's more defensively sound than he is attacking. If you're looking at the percentages, Bruno's like what? 80-20 attacking. Pogba, in my opinion, is probably about 75-25, if not 80-20. McTominay, you can just put him down as 50-50. Fred, I would say he's more 60-40 to attack. And Matic is more like 75-25 to defense. The balance isn't there. You haven't got a midfielder there who's really more like Matic, but in his prime. Let me go down here and see what you're saying about Marcus Rashford. JJ, if United stack the attack and defend from the front, we can leave McTominay in CDM by himself, and it won't be that much of an issue. It's a big risk. It's a big risk, and I don't think Solskjaer is a manager that is going to be taking that risk, my friend. Adam, what are you saying? Marcus is at his best when he turns and runs, so he must play wide and start deep. I think you're completely right. Marcus Rashford is somebody who, when he's running at a defender full tilt, that's when a defender's really scared of Rashford. And it also is the point where Marcus Rashford's at his best. When Marcus Rashford has a little bit too much time to think on the ball, he's not as good. He's much better as an instinctive forward rather than someone who has time to think about where he's putting it. Daniela, Rashford returning, does that mean Lingard will be let go in the January window? Look, I forgot about Lingard so much, I didn't even put him in my options up front. That's how much that's how far down the pecking order Lingard is in my estimations. Ricky, Rashford is frustrating to watch and I imagine to play with, as he always tries to run with the ball instead of laying it off or shooting. Rashford certainly has to improve his decision-making overall. That we can definitely all agree on. As good as he is and as great as he can be, that definitely hasn't really developed enough in the last couple of years, if we're being hypercritical anyway. Fit or not, Rashford always gives his all, even if it means suffering with injuries like he did. And I think that's why I've always compared him to Rooney a little bit. I'm not saying that he's Rooney levels of quality because he's not. But Rooney was someone who always played for Manchester United, always played through the pain barrier, played with injuries, played no matter what. He always wanted to play. And Rashford has a very similar attitude. Sometimes that can be something that hinders Rashford rather than helps him when he's playing with injuries, when he shouldn't be playing. But you can't knock the fact that Rashford gives everything to playing that Manchester United shirt. For Ian, you're saying that Rashford goes missing in big games. The goals away against City, the goals away against Liverpool, or goals at home against Liverpool, the goals away against PSG on both occasions. I think you might be lying there, my friend. You can try and slap him with as many criticisms as you want, but don't just say as a sweeping statement that Rashford disappears in big games, because that is bullshit. That's not completely true. Everybody can disappear in certain games. to say that Rashford disappears in all big games is bad. Rashford or Greenwood? Greenwood is a far better natural striker than Marcus Rashford. I think a far better natural finisher than Marcus Rashford will ever be. But they're very different types of players. I think in this formation now, we can just purely get the best out of Marcus Rashford. He can just play on the left. Don't have to worry about him playing on the right. We've got options there now, Sancho and Greenwood. Don't have to think about that at all, Solskjaer. So please don't do it. Martial, I think that he's going to struggle to get game time this year, really, when everyone's fit. But I think Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial probably are two best options from the left. Of course, you've got Anthony Elanga, who impressed so much in the preseason. Could we see Elanga coming in and getting some opportunities? Of course you could. He had struggled with it. It's really sucked for him, really, because he got an injury right at the start of the season and sort of curtailed the progress he made in preseason. Really sucked for him, but I'll be looking forward to seeing how he can come back in. And again, I'm probably putting him in the pecking order ahead of Jesse Lingard because of the long-term vision of the club has Anthony Elanga in and not Jesse Lingard. Comment here coming from Ritesh. How you doing, Ritesh? Hey, Sam, should we sit Sancho out for a couple of games and start Rashford Greenwood alongside and see how it works? Rashford's not going to be fit just yet. As I said, he's stepping up his return. Let's go over here. Let's have a look here, Ritesh. So Marcus Rashford, as we saw in the last pictures that were released, he was training with like bands on his shoulders. There ain't no bands on his shoulders anymore. His thighs look ridiculous. It looks like he hasn't been skipping leg day. I think he would have been working on his cardiovascular fitness the whole way through. He just wouldn't have been able to do the sort of full contact training. That's what he's on the verge of coming back into. And I can't wait. Honestly, I can't wait. Stephen, I wish this were true, but I don't think it probably is. Rashford on the same level as Mbappe. Woo-wee. Well, remember that photo after we knocked PSG out and he's there like patting Mbappe's head. That always makes me laugh. That always does make me laugh. Tony, good morning to you. You're watching. I mean, as I can see here, 14. You, sir, have what is called an agenda. When you're trying to slate Rashford and say he does nothing for Manchester United. Oh, he just scores a penalty. Mate, agendas are pointless. There is no point in having agendas at any point in life. Always take the pros of anything, always take the cons of anything and come to a conclusion in the middle. Don't be like Piers Morgan, be blinded by all the positive and say, I'm just going to focus on this bit. It's wrong. Rashford has faults. Of course he does. But to try and say that Rashford doesn't have any pros and doesn't bring anything to Manchester United is wrong. Is completely wrong. He's probably a future captain, I would say. I think he'll get the armband at some point. Of course, he has to improve his decision-making. Definitely. Has to. Instead, Rashford has a real natural tendency to run at a player, keep his head down. Don't look up. Don't see where the players are over there. And with Ronaldo up front, he can't afford to do that this year. He always has to keep his chin up, see where Ronaldo is, and use that link-up play. I'm looking forward to seeing how Rashford can develop with Ronaldo in. He's always going to have a number 9 there, not number 9, number 7, but a proper striker who plays as a proper striker. Therefore, Rashford can just run down the left, use Rashford and Shaw. We should be really excited by that overlap on the left-hand side. It's going to be exciting there. If we've got Sancho and maybe Wan-Bissaka, see how that develops. United's attacking options, we're spoiled this year. We're top of the league. We've scored the highest amount of goals, I think, with City. We're going to be scoring goals galore this year. Absolutely goals galore. Alvin, you're saying Rashford is not average. Guy literally had 30 goals, assist contribution last season while playing mostly injured. He is. Look, Tim, Rashford's quality. He's read him. Look, he's fantastic, in my opinion. I'm looking forward to seeing how he develops, though, because there's certain parts of his game which he does have to develop, and we can all agree on that. How are we doing on the old? I haven't gone back to this in a little while. Look at that. Let's see if we can get to... It's Friday, right? Everyone's got that sweet Friday feeling. Let's try and get to 206, 650 today. See if we can get 25 subs live on the stream together. We're heading towards that 210. I'll tell you what, 210. What should the 210 give away? 205, I gave away a CR7 shirt. That's been won by Sir Desert over on Discord, and that's now been sent out to him. Congratulations to you. If you're watching, sir, what should the 210,000 giveaway be? You fire your ideas down below, and also, if you want, fire the ideas to me on Twitter, @SamPeoples_. But as I said, I'm going to be doing an in-depth video on Rashford, Manchester United's best team with Rashford in, looking at the formations. And I'll bring that out maybe next week, maybe the week after. Probably the week after, because I don't think Rashford's going to be back just yet. I'll bring it back just as Rashford's about to come back in. But let's move quickly on from Marcus Rashford and let's see what else is going on in the world of Manchester United. Because, of course, we play West Ham on Sunday. Who will be fit? Who won't be fit? Solskjaer speaking yesterday said Scott McTominay and Alex Telles have joined in training this morning fully. And that was yesterday. Yeah. They look good. Of course, we need to have them go through a few sessions before we can consider if they're going to be available. So Scott McTominay is back in training. Really back in training. And I'll tell you what, we need him, man. We need Scott McTominay back badly. I didn't think there would ever really come a time where Manchester United would be desperate for Scott McTominay to come back, but there for such an unbalanced midfield, which is what Man United have, Scott McTominay is the only one who really brings that balance. And that's why I'm looking forward to having him back in. My God. 210k giveaway. The yellow and green scarf. Well, maybe not. I'll try not to do that. People want it. It seems like a crap giveaway. I'm sure I can do better ones than that. But McTominay is going to be fit soon. I'm looking forward to seeing him back. And as soon as he's in, he's fit and he's in my team straight away. McTominay is the one midfielder who I think adds the real balance in midfield for Manchester United. Matic does, but he can't do it. He's too old. And Alex Telles, I'll be honest, he's had a pretty disappointing Manchester United career to date, hasn't he? Given that we signed somebody who was, 27, 28, Champions League experienced, top quality left back, he's really not shown that. He's not shown that at Manchester United. Maybe he's been partly responsible for Luke Shaw's rise. So in that sense, he has done it. But directly, I'd say Telles hasn't really done that much. Beast mode. Question coming in. I'll ask this. I'll put this to the floor. Should Fred be sold at the end of the season? You let me know yes or no. You type yes or no in the comments there about Fred. I'll come back here and I'll speak about it in a second. But Fred, I think whether or not he gets sold at the end of the season very much depends on how many midfielders we sign. I can't see Solskjaer getting rid of any midfielders really until we bring 2, maybe 3 in, because I think Matic needs to be replaced. I think we need a central midfielder anyway. Matic needs to be replaced. So that's 2 important midfield transfers I would probably do ahead of Fred. Let me see what you're thinking in the comments below here. Takeoff, you're saying no. Linger, you're saying no. Aussie, you're saying no. Fred should be sold at the end of the week, says Fat Thor. You disagree. David, you're saying yes. Dammer, you're saying yes if we replace him and start DVB. Nero, not a bigger fan, Fred, but he could be a good player off the bench when we need to buzz around pressing opposition. Look, and as David said there, Fred is a grafter. That's exactly what Fred is. He's an absolute grafter. And we saw that really against Young Boys. When it switched in that second half and we were down to 10 men, Fred was tasked with that role in the middle, and he did it very well. He basically did 2 players' jobs for 40 minutes. I don't know how he did it because he must have been knackered. But that's why Solskjaer likes Fred. I personally don't think that Fred will be sold at the end of the season. I'll be surprised if Fred is sold in the next couple of years, really. I believe that Fred is a decent squad player for Manchester United. He has to go down in the Marouane Fellaini bracket. A player who I think is an okay squad player for United, but somebody who shouldn't be relied on every single week, week in, week out. The only reason we're doing that is because Manchester United don't have the right midfielders. That's why we're seeing Fred every single week. If we were to sign Declan Rice, I imagine we'd see a lot less of Fred. And we'd see him at certain times in right games where we need that extra energy in midfield. And we say, okay, look, cool. Fred looks good now. Right now, he's being overused, overplayed, and therefore his problems are getting exacerbated. And I think that is an issue. But speaking about midfield, that's a good question there because it leads me on to the next one. My talking points here. Look at that, leading from one to another. Actually, no, we're not speaking about Lingard. We are speaking about, let me get these 2 things up. Ooh. My God. Fuck off, mouse. Sorry. I'm trying to click something. It won't let me. David, you're saying Fred was actually the best player on the pitch against Young Boys. So Solskjaer, as I said, was asked by Carl Anker during the pre-match press conference ahead of West Ham this weekend. And he was asked about his midfield philosophy. And I'm actually going to do a separate video on this, ladies and gents, because I thought it was a very good question from Carl Anker. And I thought the response from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was very interesting. He was asked about what his philosophy was in midfield, whether this double pivot is something that he's absolutely going to be sticking with, what is it? And Solskjaer's response was mixed. He was asked, my overarching philosophy, I don't sit here and claim and talk. Football is a simple game, and it's about making good decisions and being in a team. He went on to speak a bit further, saying, I'm not here to explain every detail of how I want my team to play. We want a central midfielder who can play. Today's football is about he's a good 6, 8, or 10. Now, there's 2 points I want to make off the back of these comments from Solskjaer. Number one, this point here, I'm not here to explain. We want a central midfielder who can play. And inside that press conference, he was saying, look, used to have your Keanes, your Scholeses, your Robsons, who sort of did a bit of everything, really. They weren't a specific number 6. They weren't a specific number 8 or a number 10. They were a bit of everything. Solskjaer has made it clear there, and it's something that we saw during the summer. Solskjaer wasn't going after specialists in midfield. He wasn't going after your Wilfred Ndidis, your N'Golo Kantes. He was looking at central midfielders. That was Ruben Neves. That was Saul Niguez. And we looked at Eduardo Camavinga as well. 3 midfielders who aren't really a number 6, a number 8, or a number 10. They're a bit of all. They're a bit of everything. That's what Solskjaer is going towards here. So maybe that's why Declan Rice, and I'll tell you what, if you saw Declan Rice's goal yesterday against Dinamo Zagreb, that was very impressive. Picked up, intercepted the ball, burst from like 15 yards in his own half, ran the whole way through, finished with his left foot. Fair play. I'll be honest, since the start of the Euros, I've been quite impressed with Declan Rice. I think he's starting to grow on me. Maybe I haven't watched enough of him to really give him enough credit. Still don't think he's worth 89 million, but I can see United going in for him, and I can see why. But one thing here that I wanted to point out, which I felt, if I'm being completely honest, I think Solskjaer exposed his weaknesses here by saying this. He was asked about his philosophy in football, what he wants this Manchester United team to be. And it was a bit of a cliche response from Solskjaer. Overarching philosophy, football is a simple game. It's about making good decisions and being in a team. Yeah, you teach that to under 9s. Solskjaer, I think, sort of semi-exposed his, as I said, his weaknesses there in his response to Carl. I wanted to hear Solskjaer talking about positions, zones. I'm not saying that he's going to be a tactical genius, but in his response there, but I'm a little bit surprised by that response from Solskjaer. I think his philosophy is quite clear. In terms of the formation, it's 4-2-3-1. He wants his 2 holding midfielders, but Solskjaer at the same time is somebody who keeps his cards close to his chest, doesn't he? Solskjaer is somebody who doesn't really speak that much to the press, give too much away. So in that sense, I can't really be that surprised by what he said. But you can let me know what you think about that in the comments below. I will go down here and I'll read them out. Rice is only 89 million because United want him, says Nero. Of course, the United tax is extreme on Declan Rice, and the Premier League tax and the England tax, all of those together. Beast mode coming in a bit strong. Carrick should be sacked. Carrick, as I said, Solskjaer is as good as he is, or as bad as he is, or the flaws he has. He needs more from his coaching staff. I said that already. I absolutely said that already. In that maybe Mickey Phelan, I should call him Mickey. Mike Phelan, Kieran McKenna, Michael Carrick, Darren Fletcher. I think he's just, I don't think you can count Fletcher in that. For United to improve, we need the right ideas coming from all around. I pointed to it in my Solskjaer message video, Carlos Queiroz, and the impact that he had on Alex Ferguson. Solskjaer is a man that has been given the opportunity to learn on the job as manager. And to get that privilege at Manchester United, that is a privilege. No one really has ever got that at Manchester United. David Moyes certainly didn't. Louis van Gaal, he didn't need to learn. And neither did Jose Mourinho. But Solskjaer is the first man that has been given the opportunity to learn on the job. And he's got to improve in that sense. Sumya, what are you saying? I would slightly disagree. I don't think Ole would completely talk about the shape system in the press. That's what I said there. He's a man that also keeps his cards close to his chest. So maybe he's not the sort of manager to, I suppose, speak like Pep, because Pep Guardiola would be like, oh, we do, can you please come to the game? Please, I'm begging you, come to the 3 p.m. How desperate was that? I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. It was desperate to see. Honestly, it was like a meme that came out that a United fan had made. Pep Guardiola basically saying, look, we will be tired this weekend against Southampton. Please come to the 3 p.m. kickoff, please. He was basically begging City fans to go to the game. Well, that made me laugh. Sound heart. True. Carrick and McKenna have no experience at the top level. United need to be ruthless to be successful again. And it's, yeah, if you surround a man who is learning on the job by men who are learning on the job, you're going to have a team of managers and coaches who are all learning on the job. Mike Phelan is supposed to be the man who bridges that gap, who worked under Fergie for so long, who's very experienced. Is he doing enough? I would probably say Mike Phelan is where I would point the fingers. If I was going to point the fingers anywhere, I would say Mike Phelan is where I would point it. Not that I'm calling Mike. I'm calling Mike out a little bit, but Pep begging was really fun to watch. Yeah, it was fun to watch. As I said, yeah, if I'm not trying to take any responsibility away from Solskjaer, he's got his flaws. I'm not going to explain it again. If you want to know my opinions on Solskjaer, please watch my video I did this week, a message to Solskjaer from Man United fans. I really explained exactly why I'm happy with Solskjaer, why I'm not happy with Solskjaer, and what he needs to do to change that. But yeah, coaching staff here. I'm not sure whether Mike Phelan is appropriate for the modern game, appropriate for what Manchester United need going forward. I would question that. I think I wish David Moyes kept Mike Phelan because that transition would have been much easier. The same sort of squad. I think that would have been better. That would have been the perfect time to keep Mike Phelan in. I question whether now is the right time to have Mike Phelan in though. Sam, I know Cameron, how you doing? Sam, do you think this criticism of Ole is the same as what Ferguson got at the start of his United career? I know that Ferguson won things before his appointment as manager of United. What are my thoughts? I don't think it's that similar, if I'm being completely honest. Obviously, Fergie won the European Cup. Well, was it UEFA Cup? I think he won the UEFA Cup with Aberdeen. He came to United, as a winner. He came to a United team which, let's be honest, we were in the mud in the 80s. Absolutely in the mud. At 70s and 80s. After Busby left, we just went through 2 decades of, we got relegated. It was a tough couple of decades for United. And Fergie came in to a drinking culture, a club which had potential but was stained by the culture. And Fergie had to come in and build from the bottom up. Now, Solskjaer had to do a bit of a cultural rebuild. Yes, he did. But Fergie was given, was it 5 years before he won the FA Cup? I think it was. You can draw similarities if you want, but I don't think the circumstances are the same. When Fergie was there, United weren't a powerhouse by comparison of what we are now. So therefore, the expectations and the time given is going to be less. Fergie, it was obvious. You could see what he was doing. You could see what he was building. Solskjaer, Manchester United are a monster club now. Therefore, the time is always going to be less. And that's why I think the circumstances are always going to be slightly different. Cup Winners' Cup, that was it. Beat Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. I thought it was UEFA Cup. My bad. Do a Gary Neville. Jeez, I've got to learn. I'm quite good at impressions, actually. Maybe I need to learn it. Or maybe I need to get Al Foran, the Irish lad. Good guy. United fan as well. He's cracking at impressions. But look, it's Friday. As I said, you know what Friday means. You can get on the map. Let's do it now. Fire in your comments. Where are you watching from? And what country and what town? I'll get you added onto the map. 3 of you will get added onto the map. So if you want to get involved, fire it in the comments now. And if you really want to get involved, fire it in a super chat. And I can't ignore that. But the United People's TV is building. I've got 196 points on the map now. Isn't that great? Nearly 200. Will be 200 by the end of the stream. Well, 199. But I love this community we're building. I always keep saying it. Thank you very much, everybody who's joined in as a subscriber, as a member. So many of you all involved in all of this. And you're helping make this a special place to be. And honestly, I didn't think the community could ever be this good. And it's only just getting started. Rick, I'm going to call you Rick. All wrong. 3 years still learning on the job. This season and this team, he should have learnt by now. And that question exposed that he still doesn't know. Look, Rick, this is the first time he's had this squad. Squad's different to last year. He's got key figures in it this year. Solskjaer, this is the year that you can judge him. I personally think it took him 2 years to really get rid of what was there from Mourinho, start establishing the principles that he wanted in the team. And that's why he spoke in cliches at the start, because he had to speak in cliches. And it worked. He got rid of a lot of what was wrong and he's brought in a lot of what is now right. And now he has the squad to compete. So I think this is the year where we can properly judge Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And judging by the Premier League, we're top of the league. He's doing very well. Champions League, however, lost 7 of 11. Terrible, really, Manchester United in the Champions League. Let's go down here. We've got Lioj. You're definitely not on the map. Stellenbosch. That is a wicked name of a place. Stellenbosch. I want to live in Stellenbosch. Yeah, Stellenbosch. Sounds dangerous. Right, let me go up here. See where we're all watching from. Visiting the county laws in County Meath in Ireland, says Ian. Nicely done. Eric, you're watching from Milan in Italy. Milano. You should go over and see Fabrizio, see what he's doing today. But good morning to you, Eric. Make sure you drop a like on the stream if you haven't already. Thank you very much for joining in. I will add you on here. And I've just realized I haven't got you on screen. 1 second here. Oh, this mouse is pissing me off. Just click the button. I can't wait to buy a mouse mat. Why am I singing at my mouse? I don't know. There we go. Now we're up here. One more. Let's get one more on the map. Where are we watching from here? Oh, we've already got Galway on the map. Where have we got? Wow. I don't know how to spell that one. We've got Cape Town on the map. Yes, we do. Tromsø, north of Norway. Well, Tromsø can go on here now. Solskjaer would be happy. Oh, no, can't spell Tromsø. Tromsø, Norway. Is that the right one? I think it's the right one. You're added onto the map. Welcome aboard, madam. Madam? Eric? Definitely not a madam. But thank you all very much for getting involved, as always. I love these streams. I love them. I can't wait to do more of them. I think I might wrap it up today because I've got a busy day ahead. But as I said, we've had a little discussion there about Marcus Rashford, how he's going to be in this United team. It's going to be exciting. We've got so many options, really. Rashford, Greenwood, Sancho, Ronaldo, Cavani, Martial, Lingard, if you want to put it in there. So many players in this United squad. It's exciting. How will Rashford fit into it? I'm going to do a separate video on it. I'll be here on Sunday ahead of the game. 1 hour, the United Legacy Arms is opening, so make sure you check that out. Also, my predicted 11 for the United West Ham game is going out at 1 p.m. today, so make sure you check that out. Everybody who's joined in here, thank you very much for joining in. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to United People's TV if you're new and you enjoyed it. You don't want to miss anything else. But have a cracking Friday. Get those sweet Friday vibes. Take it easy, everybody. I'll see you soon.